Oh, has it already ended?
That's the short answer. Nobody should be voting on a Supreme Court nominee right now. Look, 4 years ago, Senator McConnell said, by the McConnell rule, during an election year, we don't vote on
We'll watch a little bit of this here.
decide. Well, right now, with 22 days to an election, we should let the people decide.
And with 22 days to the election, she stands fucking
on aid for Kentucky, as we just talked about.
next to zero of a chance of unseating Mitch
What
McConnell.
this is all about. Senator McConnell, for a decade, tried to undermine and get rid of the Affordable Care Act legislatively. He could not do it. So now he is trying to do it in the courts. The first case that the Supreme Court's going to hear after the election is going to be about the Affordable Care Act. And that is something that we really cannot have in Kentucky, because the Affordable Care Act did a lot of good for many, many Kentuckians.
This is very true.
So I don't want to throw it away. I want to fix it.
Time's up. Senator McConnell.
Yeah, no one believes the Supreme Court is going to strike down the Affordable Care Act.
That's exactly what the Trump administration is arguing in court right now.
Subject away from this extraordinary nominee.
It's almost certainly going to go to the Supreme Court, and that's why they're trying to ram through Amy Coney Barrett.
A judge on the Seventh Circuit, a marvelous family, 7 children, 2 of them adopted, 1 of them with special needs, an
A
absolute
religious nut job.
all-star. And so in the Judiciary Committee you saw today, they want to talk about anything other than the nominee. This is the progressive position. My opponent said she's the most progressive person in Kentucky. What does that mean? It means they want to stack the Supreme Court. In other words, add numbers so they can get an outcome that they like. She wants to make the District of Columbia a state, Puerto Rico a state, get rid of the filibuster in the Senate. In short, there's not a dime's worth of difference between my opponent and all of the national Democrats that you've watched. If you give them...
I don't know. I don't know too many national Democrats that are running as Trump-loving Democrats.
Well, I want to do what's right for Kentucky, always. That's what I'm all about. You know, and after 36 years in Washington, this is what you get. A man who basically, his word means nothing. Integrity means nothing. Does one thing 4 years ago, then...
That's not just Mitch McConnell. That's the entire GOP, 100%.
You know, it's what everybody hates about Washington. Folks, we cannot change Washington until we change the people we send there, period.
And Charles Booker would have been a great
Have you seen those
candidate to take on McConnell.
about the swamp? Washington is the swamp. Well, she wants to give the swamp a place where they're full of influence peddlers and lobbyists, 2 senators, just like Kentucky. That's one of the things she's in favor of. That's why she's one of the most, if not the most progressive person.
To give senators to the District of Columbia,
Change the rules in the Senate to give them an advantage. Admit the district,
which has a bigger population than several states.
for them, and then pack the Supreme Court so they'll get the outcomes they want that they can't pass.
You want to talk about packing the courts? Mitch McConnell has packed the courts for years.
You know, Senator McConnell is
You should be flabbergasted by that, Amy.
And, you know, but that's par for the course.
Would you favor enlarging the court?
You know, I think we should be working on unpacking the Senate right now, because he has polarized and made this partisan mess of the Supreme Court so bad that people were even saying they were going to vote for or against the nominee before they even had the name. And in my mind, that's just not what we should be looking at. I'm focused on Kentucky.
Yeah,
She makes a really good point.
Answer the question. And Joe Biden won't answer the question either. What Biden said is, I'll tell you after the election whether or not he's going to pass the Supreme Court. Well, we're entitled to know.
Do not let them fool you. They're not answering that question because they don't want to turn people like me off, because they're not going to pack the court.
Said in an interview last year, 9.
There is no way the Democrats have the balls to actually come in and pack the court.
It's been 9.
At least not a Biden administration.
69.
Except for the 1 year that you left 8 all year long. But here's the thing. Ruth Bader Ginsburg
Good job.
also said that she didn't think that her seat should be filled until the next president. And it does come down.
Not really her place to
When
say
Ruth Bader
that.
Ginsburg was initially nominated and confirmed. She was confirmed 96-3 at the time. Think about that. You know, Mitch McConnell wasn't the Senate Majority Leader then. So we actually had regular order. Since he's become the leader, he has made this a partisan, complete weapon of a mess that we have with the Supreme Court. We got to get rid of him.
Senator, you
Every
said
one
this
of
is
the
an
big
important
Supreme
topic.
Court controversies was started by her party. Bork, Thomas, Kavanaugh. Look what they did to Kavanaugh a year ago. Tried to destroy his reputation. Look, under the Constitution, the president can nominate for a vacancy on the Supreme Court anytime he so chooses. And this president has
All right.
for a vacancy during an election year, just like a lot of other presidents have over the years.
All right,
19 times. 17 of the times they've been confirmed when you had the party of the president also in control of the Senate.
I'm not going to leave this general topic, but this question is this. If Judge Barrett is confirmed, there is some belief that Roe versus Wade, the law that gives women the right
Ooh, here we go.
could be overturned. And a Western Kentucky University student wants to know your thoughts on that and where do you stand on women's reproductive health issues? And we begin with Senator McConnell.
Well, I'm pro-life myself and enjoy the support of Right to Life and the Susan B. Anthony list and others who've worked on this issue over the years. But that's a different issue than what's before the Supreme Court. Every president has been surprised by how Supreme Court nominees that they've put up have voted. No one knows what may happen.
That is the
Any
truth.
nominee. Every Republican
John Roberts has had
nominee
a
has been
couple of very
rejected as a
surprising
disaster for women, and none of them have turned out that way.
rulings.
So we don't know how the court.
Gorsuch has had a couple really surprising rulings so
This
far.
nominee, just like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, will not answer any question about a case that might come before her. So we will not know. That's one of the reasons judges have a lifetime appointment. They're independent once they get on the court. If they're strict constructionists, they follow the Constitution and the law.
Time's up. Lieutenant Colonel McGrath.
Well, I'm Catholic, and I'm the mother of 3 small children. And
She was winning me over there for a little bit, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm Catholic." Well, fuck you.
I'm somebody that believes that the government should not be legislating my religion or my religious belief on others. And I do believe we already have reasonable restrictions on abortion in this country, as per outlined in Roe v. Wade. That said, you know, as probably, well, I am.
The guy with the name Death
up
Priest
here on this stage
says what's
today,
wrong with
and
Catholics.
I'd like to point
Hail
out
Satan, Death
about
Priest.
life issues. You have to talk about the fact that before the Affordable Care Act in Kentucky, there was not a single insurer on the individual market that would cover maternity care. And Senator McConnell has had a terrible record of trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act all along. 50% of children born in Kentucky and rural Kentucky are born on Medicaid. And Senator McConnell wants to cut that. Those are life programs. And, you know, as a mother, I always want to protect children and protect, you know,
Senator
health care for people.
Senator,
Unless she's bombing them in the Middle East
She really
as a
wanted
bomber
to
pilot.
for was a single payer system. That means the government is in charge of your health care. And then she waffled a little bit and said a public option. There's really not a dime's worth of difference. If you put all of our health care in the hands of the government, think about it this
He
way.
really is the most Kentucky senator ever.
Motor vehicle.
There's not even a dime's worth of difference. I look like Colonel Sanders. Let me give you some fried chicken.
That's what we're talking about here. You don't want the federal government to be entirely in charge of looking for testing, vaccines, treatment, and the long lines that will come as a result of the government taking
I do not want private industry in charge of those things by any stretch of the imagination.
and put all of our health care in the hands of the government.
time, Senator Lieutenant Colonel McGrath.
Well, I'm not sure what the senator's talking about when he talks about they. I can tell you where I stand, and that I ran the primary and defeated my opponents that were for the Medicare for All system. But clearly, we need to fix health care in this country.
Yeah, you outspin him like 7-1
Kentuckians that still don't have health care in the middle of a pandemic.
and still barely fucking beat him.
30 years ago, ran an ad that said that he was going to fix health care. Now he's saying he just needs another 6 years to do it? Seriously? That's like my 8-year-old son saying, "Hey, Mom, you know, I really am going to take out the trash, but I just need another 6 years.
All right,
He's not interested in fixing health care.
Early voting starts in the Commonwealth.
Now, that is Bill Bryant, actually, and don't let his looks fool you. He's a lot older than what you think.
Across the country, there are questions over mail-in voting and the potential for fraud. Are you concerned about the integrity of this election? Lieutenant Colonel McGrath.
You know, I think that we have, here in Kentucky, we have a Democratic governor who came together with a Republican Secretary of State, and they came up with a very good plan for everybody to vote. And it's wonderful. They actually came together and negotiated. Isn't that amazing? I wish we could do that at the federal level.
So what did the Republican AG do?
Kentucky has never made it easier to vote than this year, and that's incredible.
Oh, the AG didn't get involved.
I am very concerned about the U.S. Postal Service. The Postal Service is such an important service. It provides prescription medication to our seniors, to our veterans, particularly in rural areas, and it needs to be helped through this coronavirus. And I'm afraid Senator McConnell hasn't done enough.
It is correct.
For that, and I would be.
And there's a lot of right-wingers out there that call themselves constitutionalists.
Hand out
Hey,
$100 billion in slush funds for corporations.
the fucking Postal Service is mandated in the Constitution. I don't see you fucking defending it.
Senator McConnell, your response.
Yeah, my opponent always likes to mention how long I've been in the Senate. She doesn't seem to be troubled by the fact that Joe Biden's been in Washington 47 years. Under her
I'm troubled by it.
terms, Joe Biden would have been leaving the Senate at the time I got there. So
And I said it many times. I was against Joe Biden.
her advocacy for a position on term limits that would have eliminated Joe Biden's career before I even got to the Senate.
Not a damn thing wrong with that.
Who can be effective for Kentucky? There are 4 congressional leaders. I'm the
And
only
when
one
he
not-
says that, remember, he is the most disliked senator in America. His constituency doesn't like him.
My last term, $17.5 billion for the Commonwealth that would not have been there had I not been the majority leader of the Senate.
I would love to see Mitch McConnell get beat. And I've spotlighted several senators in close races that I've said, like, I've donated to, and I encourage you to donate to. I do not encourage you to donate to this race.
Anything above his weight. Here in Kentucky, we feel like we've been sucker punched. We have
She's down like 12, 13 points.
highest rates of heart disease. Some of the
And she is flooded with cash. The MSNBC crew loves her.
It's just unbelievable. And if Senator McConnell would love to talk about term limits, I would love to talk about it, because you know what?
But she doesn't speak to the heart of Kentucky. Charles Booker,
And I agree with him on
the man she defeated in the primary, just barely, because she outspent him 7-1.
Let's just take opioids, for example.
He spoke to the workers in Kentucky.
That I directly brought into Kentucky for the opioid fight. $87 million of that was the largest grant the University of Kentucky has ever gotten. All of that was the outgrowth of 2 bipartisan bills passed, one of them back during the last 2 years of President Obama that I negotiated with him, called the 21st.
So I'd absolutely love to get rid of Mitch McConnell, but it is not going to happen. I'm not going to encourage you to put money into that race. Maybe just the fact that it is so overwhelmingly Democrat that it is a blue tsunami that's getting ready to happen. That could possibly push McGrath over the edge. And she would have to have a lot of turnout among young people. He wants to die in office, clearly. Dude's like 70-something years old, right? "78 years old. Why couldn't it have already happened?"